D-Wade said he wanted that 6C because he didn't want to pay cash. And then we lost that game to the Bucks. Bucks like they won the championship when they beat us. They like they won the championship. They were all over the court, fans streamed the court, and everything. Professional. It was about 2 weeks ago.
But LeBron just came out and said Wade is his only one of his true friends. So he might he might be right, man.
What?
That they don't want to face Cleveland.
No, they don't want to play Cleveland. Wade said he wants that 6C.
I don't believe it.
Look, to get to that chip, he got to play him at some point in time.
But still, the first round.
Not the first round.
They won't play that first round.
He think they're going to get... Because I don't believe in Cleveland like that.
No.
They not jailed together like that.
No, not at all.
Especially see, right now, we're in that 7th spot. We're going to play him. We're going to play him.
Well, y'all better do something.
That's the way D-Wade said we got to get that 6th spot. We got to get we got to knock with the Bucks. We got to knock them out.
Got to do it, man.
Just like OKC knocked Phoenix out.
Mm-hmm.
When they started crumbling, Dragic left.
Yeah.
They started crumbling. Y'all going to do y'all thing, man.
So we're going. So we got the.
Y'all just ad lib. Y'all don't have no script or nothing.
No script.
It's organic, right?
It's organic. We go.
I see, man.
We keeping that. So we're gonna go. We're gonna do the title.
Yeah.
And then we'll
title for all.
Title for all, and then we'll get into the penny stocks thing.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Like I said, I personally don't really like them, so.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like them, but I just don't want to spend too much time because I feel like people, it's a dream deferred of them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So you ready?
You ready, CP?
Let's do it.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Eric Patrick, the Hip Hop Stock Doc here at Black Market Exchange. Thank you for tuning in to Brent, Money, and Life podcast. That's Brent, Money, and Life, where we talk about all things stock, finance, and lifestyle. Check us out on Instagram. That's at Black_Market_Exchange. Twitter at BMEX_. And you can email us anytime at info@thebmex.com. Also, our website is www.thebmex.com. And I'm here with
at Carter Park. Also remember to check us out on YouTube, subscribe, comment, do whatever you gotta do. Keep us posted. Send us Instagram feeds, whatever you gotta do, whatever it is, man. So we got a good show. What is this? Episode 6?
Yeah,
we going in.
Man.
Episode 6.
That was LeBron on number, right? We were just talking about them. That's number 6, right? Was it he?
Yeah.
Why he changed number 23?
If y'all didn't know, we got a special guest in here tonight. I'll let the Hip Hop Stock Doc introduce him.
We actually got the Hip Hop Stock Doc Senior up here tonight. He just flew in, from the tropical city of Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood area. That's near Miami for those that don't know. That's the area if you want to kind of lay low with your money. So that's where he stay at. He's visiting us here in Dallas, Texas, live in the flesh.
Say hi to the people out there.
Hello, folks. Good to be here.
We're glad to have him here. He brings a level of expertise, and we're just gonna, do it like we do it, organically, and we're just gonna flow, man. So what we got on the table for today, man?
We got, let's just go ahead right into it with the title for all,
man. Let's go into it. Title for all.
Everybody's talking about it.
I've been waiting. But
did you see that spectacle they had going on at concert show?
Yeah, they put it all out there. Everybody's talking about it, but do they really know what's going on with it?
I don't think they know, man. I mean, some people do know. I've talked in a couple circles, and a lot of people say they don't think it's going to flourish like people think. They think they just trying to go off of ego and status right now, but from a business model, people don't think it's going to really flourish.
Well, that's why we're talking about it right now. So we're going to actually break this down. So you got a analyst, you got a investor, and you got somebody that's involved with music. We got a lot of minds here, and we're going to actually break this down to its original form, and we're going to go from there. There's a lot of people that think that they did this just because of pure ego, but you have to understand that, as we were talking earlier, there are 3 separate entities. I think CSAC, BMI, and ASCAP are in lawsuit form. trying to get performance royalties paid to the artist.
Now you're, we mentioned how you deal with music. Can you explain, the BMI, ASCAP, stuff like that? Just kind of a little bit about it.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not gonna go because we're not gonna do a music podcast, but I'm gonna go into. I won't go in depth, but I'll just explain
more so why they would be suing more.
Little bit to you guys out there. So ASCAP, BMI, and CSEC, or they're publishing companies, right? So what these publishing companies do is they collect performance royalties. Mm-hmm. So say for instance you're playing the music in a club, in a restaurant, anywhere you could be, anywhere you could go that the music could actually be performed, right? Mm-hmm. These are the people who get the artists their money. Gotcha. They get the artists their money because they're monitoring these things. So let's just use the club, right? So everything that they play in the club, right? Mm-hmm. There's a set list. There's a list, and they are checking on that because if the song is being performed, then the artist is due a royalty off of that.
Even in the club?
Even in the club.
I mean, I know like TV shows and stuff.
TV shows, restaurants.
I mean, what if it's little mom and pop, little Medusa down the street or something like.
Well, they're supposed to. I don't care if it's little mom and pop. CSAC, ASCAP, and BMI are no joke. They are everywhere, and it started with basically Napster, right? Mm-hmm. So Napster, there had to be laws in place. Because before we got to that point, there was no law in place for downloading music because it didn't exist. It didn't exist, right? So once those laws are on the books, right, now there needs to be laws for you viewing stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole McDonald's lady burned the lip, so now they got to put his hot coffee on.
Yeah, you got to because before that, the proceeding didn't exist. Mm-hmm. So now what we have is streaming services, and the artist says, you know what, I think it was rapper Big Pooh from Lil Brother. I was listening to an interview. He said he got his record spent.
Oh yeah.
On I forgot.
It was tens of thousands of times.
Like 10,000 times, and he said he got like a $7 check.
Yeah.
Okay, now here's where the investing part comes in.
Yeah, that was on. I think it was the Sway interview.
The Sway interview, yeah. So here's where the investing part comes in. He says, "Yo, I'm getting a $7 check," and Jay-Z says, "You know what? We should be getting more than that. Mm-hmm. This is our music." Jay-Z has always fought for his music. Mm-hmm. I think he even fought for the why does this keep coming over? Oh, you know what it is? Alright, man. We're gonna have to take it from the Tiffy. Or you wanna just keep going?
I mean, can we blend them or no?
Yeah, we can blend them.
Is it just
I forgot where I was at though. Oh, we can keep all this. Sometimes we have technical difficulties, people. We're dealing with everyday life.
I mean, I say we just roll, man.
Just roll. Okay. Yeah, well, I can blend it, but I don't know where I left off. Okay, let's try this again.
You were saying Jay-Z was always fighting for the music.
Okay, yeah. So Jay-Z is always he's always fighting for the music. So what we have now is you have an artist, right, who gets $7 off his music being streamed 10,000 times. So you got to look at it and say, hey, $7? Yeah. It's not even worth it. When these companies are making you pay $19, $20 a month. Now you can get a free one, but it's going to come with ads. Mm-hmm. And guess what? They're selling those ads. Yeah. So if you listen to Pandora, right, there are ads in between there, right? So the more people they get to sign up for Pandora, you know what happens? The more money they make, because they take that to the ad agency and they say, okay, we get 500 million streams. That is 500 million outlets for you to guess what? To market to people, right? Mm-hmm. And they say, yo, you don't even get this much during the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. So they can charge you for that ad space. Yeah. They're making money hand over foot. So you know what? Guess what happens? They make money. The artist gets a $7 check. And the artist said, hey, wait a minute. And Jay-Z said, wait a minute. No. I got to invest in myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he took the philosophy that we spoke about last week, right? Not only investing in himself, but helping somebody else out too, right? Yeah. So Jay-Z was...
Just like Black Market Exchange.
Just like Black Market Exchange does. So what he did was he said, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to inquire about a streaming service, right? Mm-hmm. So he took this, he said, okay, there's this streaming service. I forget, what, you remember the name of it?
The lead company?
Yeah, the
like
lead.
Aspero
or something like that. And he said, you know what? I'm gonna acquire this, right? And I'm gonna bring it to the artist. That's why there were artists supporting him. Mm-hmm. And then he took his investment opportunity to the artist. He says, okay, I'm gonna invest in this, right? And give us an opportunity to have a leg up in the game. Mm-hmm. Because the music industry right now they're not making money.
It's funny because it's almost like he bought this company. He kind of had a pseudo IPO looking for investors on a road show. Like that's how an IPO works, right? A company goes on these road shows where they go to different investors to buy in. So they're going to go to these bigwig companies. Well, these companies are essentially these artists that were at the unveiling or announcement, whatever. Yeah. So he kind of was like, hey, I got this company. You want in on it? Do you want a piece of it?
That's basically
kind of what he did.
And who does he remind you of? It's the number one TV show on TV right about now.
Yeah, he's Lucius Lyons in the flesh.
He is Lucius Lyons in the flesh. And as a matter of fact, the character Lucius Lyons is actually based on him. Mm-hmm. And when you look at it in terms as investing, Jay-Z says, you know what, I'm going to buy this company, right? And I'm going to invest in myself as well as the artist, right? So I think the streaming service is $19.99 a month. There's no free. You just pay $19.99.
And that's actually more because, Spotify is probably like $8 or something.
$8
I think
or something
Beats
like
is
that.
Like $14.
$14.
So it's on the higher end. But they're supposed to be exclusive with some things.
They're exclusive with some things. And guess what he says? He says, you know what? Who are the biggest artists in hip hop and R&B? Me and my wife. Mm-hmm. He says, this is all strategically planning and investment. So when we talk to you guys about budgeting and strategically planning how you're investing and what you're investing in, so not just looking at a bag of Lay's chips and say, okay, this is a bag of Lay's chips, but saying, I'm purchasing this bag of Lay's chips, right? So essentially, at the lowest common denominator in the lowest form, I am investing in this company. Mm-hmm. I am. Whether you buy the stock or not, when you pick up that bag of Lay's chips, right, you're investing in that company because they're going to use those funds that they get back from you to further the company.
Exactly.
That's what they're going to do.
Because it's called their profit margin. So you buy the bag for $4, it might cost them $1.50, if even that much to make. Probably not even that much.
Probably like 75 cents.
But they're basically taking that $350 profit and they're just gonna invest back in themselves and do something with it.
And do something with it, right? They're gonna say, okay, so let's break that down in investment terms. We're gonna get back to TIDAL in 1 second, but let's break that down in investment terms. So what you have is a bag of chips that cost, say, what, $4 for a family bag, right? So they're evaluating their profit margin, right? It may take them 80 cents to make that, and then everybody says, well, the rest of that money, it's just all profit. But in actuality, some of those dollars go to marketing, some of those dollars go to advertising, some of those dollars go to whatever other endeavors they're funding, investments, retirement plans for their employees, operating costs,
any debt they may have,
any expenses that they may have, and that money is divided up like that within the company. But you, for instance, you bought the bag of chips for $4, right? So initially, what you did, minus the $1 or so that it cost them to make, you invested $3 into that company for that company to do as they please with. whether it be advertising, marketing. And when you advertise and you market, what are you doing? You're investing back into your company so I can get that person in that grocery store to actually come back in and invest in my product again. Keep keep it moving. We keep it moving. So that's why me and Eric, we tell you guys, look at the things that you intake, look at the things that are around you, look at the things that are in your household, right? And say, you know what? I'm investing in these companies anyway. How can I invest in these companies and make it tangible for me and my kids, and I can build wealth on down the line?
We mentioned in the last podcast to go to your grocery store and look at all the products that are eye level.
Yeah,
see which
level.
ones that have a stock. Go ahead and just comment below. If you're on SoundCloud or YouTube, just comment below and let us know what you found out. Let us know some products that you saw at eye level. Let us know, does it have a stock? Who is it owned by? Does that company, are they owned by another company that has a stock? We mentioned about how Oreo was made by Nabisco, but Nabisco's owned by Kraft. So it's all 6 degrees of separation. So just let us know what you guys found out and if it was kind of an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, so just find that, you may have some Trident Gum. Look on the back, see the name. I think it's Melendez or something like that. Just research that. I'm not going to tell you where it ends up, but it ends up somewhere familiar what we have already spoke about. Mm-hmm. But when you look at these things, right, and you say, okay, where do I get started investing? How do I start investing? Well, the first thing you need to do is educate yourself about the things that are around you and how you can invest in things that you may be already investing in.
Exactly.
That you're doing, right? So Jay-Z, now let's go back to title. So Jay-Z is saying, I'm already making music. Me and my wife are the top in our genre. What can we do to say, you know what, I'm tired of you guys making money off of us and we can just invest in ourselves. So he got the artists together. He said, hey, we can make exclusive content and put it on here, and you know what, we can get paid much better. That was an investment. Jay-Z looked around, right? Just like we mentioned in our podcast. Jay-Z looked around. He said, man, this stuff, these streaming services are streaming my musical content. He was like, okay, how can I invest in that? How can I invest in myself? Mm-hmm. And he saw an opportunity. He said, okay, there's this company over here that I can invest in. And you know what? I put my star power behind it. And you know what? It'll go from there. It'll blow up. It'll actually move further than we even thought it would be. And
in all honesty, I don't mean to cut you off. Beats is living off, Dr. Dre's name, and Apple is a great cosign. So that's what TIDAL's going to end up doing. They're just going to live off all these artists, specifically Jay-Z and Beyonce's name.
And they're going to go from there. Yeah, Beats. Who would have thought that you could get people to pay $300 for headphones? But you know what they did? They came with an ingenious marketing plan. They put Dr. Dre's name on them. They made you think that they were the best sounding and the best quality. They made them cool. And you know what happened? They said, you know what? People will buy it. People bought it. Apple looked at that company. See, Apple is doing so when we say look around you, right? Investors are doing that 24/7. 24/7. So Apple is saying, you know what? Because if we go back, right? That is the niche that Beats by Dre, that was their niche. They said music is changing, right? I think this came from Jimmy Iovine. He said music is changing. And it's starting to come on these things called iPods, right? That was back then before anybody knew what iPods was. So, and he looked at the iPods and he said, man, if this is where music is going, look at these little headbuds they're giving with them. He was like, look at these headbuds, these little cheap, flimsy joints that they're giving with you to experience music. He looked around, right? He looked into his environment. He said, my environment is music. This is where music is going to. Where do I find a niche? Where can I invest? He said, you know what? Nobody is concerning themselves with headphones, right? And this is where music is going, because before that it was CDs. Now everybody has these iPods, iPhones in their hand, and there's a open space there for us to actually plant a seed and watch it grow. And that's what they did. They were like, these headphones, Let's put a name on it. Let's get a good marketing plan. Let's give these out to strategic people, athletes, musicians, entertainers. Let's make them cool. And everybody is on that.
It's funny because there's a lady named Karen Civil, and
she
has a very large following. I mean, some people are even trying to say she's like a modern, like a hip Oprah almost. You know what I'm saying? So she says when she was coming up, she had an internship, and she actually, I think, went to work at Beats for a little bit, and they were giving her these headphones to give out to people because she had so many connections. So she would go back to Jersey, or she would see people, and she had this connection with Wayne. A lot of people don't know, when Wayne was in jail, a lot of that communication he had with the outside world was because of her. So she was like, that's where Wayne started wearing Beats and stuff. She was the one, because people were like, what are these headphones? They was like, they were just giving them to me. So she was giving them out
to
and
people.
That helped. I'm not saying
places.
she was the only reason, but she was part of the reason that kind of.
She was an intricate,
because all
not
these
an intricate, but an integral
now
part.
Were like, oh, let me put the Beats on real quick because my homegirl, she said they dope. So.
Yeah, and I think she was responsible for like one of the dedications when he did that, and then she had like a letter writing campaign to his fans. Yeah, she's a very forward thinking person.
In the culture.
Yeah, she's invested in the culture. They gave her an opportunity. They said, "Here, take these headphones," and she saw an opportunity. She said, "You know what? The way these headphones will be popular will be for me to put them on celebrities' heads, right? So." Put them on a celebrity, and everybody says, "What's these headphones that Lil Wayne is wearing? I want a pair of those." What? They're $200? Okay, well, I just save up. I get them for Christmas. Then when one kid gets them, he's at school. He's like, "Yo, he's the cool kid now because he has the headphones that Lil Wayne has." Now it's a status symbol to get the headphones. So people are clamoring to get them. That's like Jordans, man. Jordans are like $220, right? And we all still love Jordans. We love them. We're going to go out and get them, right? Because it's a status symbol. So these people are not just sitting around and saying, "Hey, where are the investments?" They're actually really engaging and looking for the investment. So Apple, in turn, now let's rewind. So Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre said, well, there's a niche. We should make these headphones to go with this iPod, right? So it does a full circle. Apple comes back years later after they are Beats by Dre are majorly successful. They say, "You know what? These headphones, we need these headphones for our products. This is it. We need this. We're gonna acquire this company." They were looking at, they were strategically planning like, okay, Beats by Dre, iPods, and iPhones are synonymous. They're already married to each other. Yeah. We just need to sign the marriage certificate. So they said, "You know what? There's an investment opportunity." They invested, and now it's a global phenomenon. It's just gonna keep on growing. Beats by Dre and Apple, they are not going anywhere. They're titans in their respective fields. And you got to look at it like, okay, Jay-Z says, "I'm a titan in my field. I need to invest in myself." That's the thing that we're trying to get the I guess the point across to you guys when we say that. Invest in yourself, right? Before you even start to say, okay, what do I need? How do I start? Where do I get in? The first thing you should do is say, okay, where do I want to go besides just making money? Because that's the thing. Well, I want to invest to make money. Well, do you want a long-term investment or you want a short-term investment? Well, I don't know what that means. Well, maybe you should say, let's start from the beginning and let's say, hey, where should I go? What do I need to do next? Okay, how can I get into this? And if you have all those questions, say, you know what, the first thing I can do, go pick up a book on investing. Yeah. That's the easiest thing right there, is you go pick up a book on investing and say, just let me read the book. I may not understand it, but I can actually,
Yeah, one thing I try to tell people sometimes is, like you said, pick up a book. Sometimes check out some of these finance shows. Just listen to the lingo. You might not always catch everything, but it just becomes a part of you after a while. You get familiar with it. Yeah. And, we mentioned before that a lot of these terms are interchangeable. when you start hearing them, you be like, man, they ain't saying but the same thing all day long.
All day long, yeah. It's like the Rosetta Stone. You know, you don't understand it at first, and then you're like, okay, now I know what that means. Okay, because every time he say this, he say that, you start to piece together terms that you didn't know what they meant, and now you have a term, so you know what a stock is, but you may not know what an IPO is, initial public offering. But if you hear them together, you're like, stock, initial public offering, stock, initial public offering. If you hear it enough, right, even if you don't go in depth with your education, you'll say, okay, stock has something to do with this IPO.
Right.
It has something to do with it. So that's where that's the integral part, and that's the start, right? So Jay-Z said, I'm gonna get these music people together, right? And we're gonna start somewhere. Okay, this may not work. I know a lot of people are saying, hey, it's not gonna work. It may not work, but what they're saying is, we're gonna start right now investing in ourselves, because it's crazy if you're an artist and your record plays 10,000 times on Spotify, 10,000 times on Pandora, and they send you a check for $7.
Yeah, come
on, man, you was paying me a fourth of a penny or something like that. Dude, come on, man. And you're charging the advertisers
is more than $7 per person.
Yeah, so one person paid your royalties that month.
Yeah.
And these streaming services don't have one person. They're like 30, 40 million deep. People signed up for these subscriptions. You know, if you combine them all together, they're deep, man. This is worldwide. So the artists come together and say, hey, man, we gotta invest in ourselves. We gotta find a way to not only be a consumer, like we say at Black Market Exchange. You know, you don't want to be a consumer all your life. Exactly. You'll have to be a consumer at different points in your life, but you also want to be a investor. You want to be someone that says, I consume, but I invest, and I can consume with profits.
Exactly.
We mentioned that. Make it pay for itself. Because if we sit here and we say, okay, man, it's just too hard, man. If everybody sat there and said, oh, it's just too hard, or I can't really get an edge, or I can't find out what's going on, we would all be in the same boat. Nobody would be investing. Nobody would be innovating. But you have people. Don't think that because Jay-Z is Jay-Z that his mind is so far advanced in your mind. He simply did what we told you to do maybe about 4 or 5 podcasts. He looked around. He said, what am I using? Okay, I'm using this streaming service, right? With my music on there. How can I invest in that? Yeah. Because my royalty statements aren't showing anything. Well, let me get some stock in it.
Something he saw every day.
Something he saw every day. Something that they probably did every day. He was probably streaming from one of the top streaming services. And he was like, you know what? Why aren't we doing this ourselves? Why aren't we streaming this? He probably had his phone in the back of his car or whatever, riding around somewhere, and he was streaming the whole time. Was like, wait a minute. Hold up. I could probably do this, you know? And he went out and found that company, invested in it, and I believe it's gonna grow. What do you think about the whole TIDAL thing?
I mean, to me it's one of those things where it's still somewhat early in the game in terms of market share. Mm-hmm. So I think there definitely is some room for some growth, you know. Mm-hmm. I just wonder if, to me, the thing that's gonna make it really flourish is the whole exclusivity of it all with artist music. Because just like when Jay-Z dropped that one album on Samsung, everybody was like, "Oh, let me go get a Samsung." Like, you know, it was like, I need a new phone anyway. I'm gonna just go ahead and get a Samsung. Like, it can have that kind of effect because people are like, oh, the new Jay-Z's only going to drop here. But the issue to me is, how long can they hold it? Because it's just like in the pharmacy industry. Drug patents only last for so long, and then the generics come out. Like, it can only go on for so long. And when you take that, and also with the piracy that's happening, like, piracy is not going anywhere. somebody's gonna get this album. It's gonna be leaked, and people gonna keep getting it. So my issue is, how can they really grow from that exclusivity with all these other factors coming in?
But will you be able to stream it? So even if the album does fall victim to piracy, right? You could throw it on YouTube, but you wouldn't be able to stream it anywhere else.
But I mean, is it people like? Matter of fact, when Magna Carta came out, the next day it was on SoundCloud.
Oh, so
like that's the whole album.
Oh, okay. So see, I never checked SoundCloud.
But that's what I'm saying. This kind of stuff happens. Somebody's not just gonna put it on. They're gonna put it where other people are still going. Jay-Z didn't put it on SoundCloud. Like some random Joe Blow put it on SoundCloud. But Magna Carta came out on Samsung, and a day later it's on SoundCloud. How did that happen? That to me is what's gonna hurt the business model. Because this goes back to what we were talking about with Nipsey Hussle. He says, I'm giving away music for free, but I'm also charging you. If you believe in my product, you're going to pay for it. If you've never heard of me, here it is for free. Maybe next time you'll pay for it. I think that's the issue, is that how are they really going to want to make people pay for it?
Well,
especially if it's at a higher price point.
Well, because they're going to give you the exclusive. They're dependent solely on the exclusive content.
Matter of fact, this will go to a topic later on. We were talking about the price of like penny stocks and the price of some other stocks. Okay. And a lot of people are like, I can't afford $100 stock. I can't afford a $100 stock. But are you going to go buy 10 shares of the $10 stock? How many you going to buy the one share?
Yeah.
Because 10% of 100 is not the same as 10% of 10. It's a numbers game. So that's what I'm saying. Like, people are going to view it, oh, Tidal is $20 and this is $10. Why do I need Tidal?
Well,
like, if people are even thinking, like, when it comes to stocks, if I want to invest in cheaper stocks because I feel like that's what I can afford, why am I going to invest in a streaming service when there's a cheaper one that I can afford? If it's got the same stuff. Because until this stuff gets taken off of Spotify from, the ASCAP and BMI, like, technically they're in the same playing ground. Well,
I was under the impression, I don't think that the lawsuit from ASCAP and BMI and CSEC is more of a royalties based lawsuit, if I'm correct with that. But I was under the impression that the artists that band together were going to take their content off of the other streaming services.
But I guess that's the whole thing.
You see what I'm saying?
When they're saying their content, do they own, how many, you being in the industry, how many people own the rights to their music?
3.
Jay-Z just bought Tupac's rights to his music, I think.
I heard there was a rumor.
But even then, the fact that it's a rumor, somebody can buy rights to someone else's music. So these industries, like Universal owns that stuff. Arista owns that stuff. Like, these people don't own that stuff. How can Taylor Swift say, I'm taking my albums here? She can't do that. That's your boy upstairs, with the suit on in the boardroom. Says, we're going to allow you to take it over there. You're not just going to walk on over there. You're going to
stream over there. But see, I think that the record company will make more money if they allow the artists to do that. Because they're not making that much money off Spotify.
Well, then they got to be talking to Jay-Z somewhere. That's the only way. Because if they not talking dollars, it don't make sense, bro.
It don't make sense. Well,
that's it.
Well, we're kind of like speculating on what they have found and what their niche will be. Well, exclusive content would be one thing, but like I said, I was under the impression that the record companies were on board and saying, "Hey, let's switch it over. Let's go here."
I mean, they may be,
because we can make more money over here.
I haven't looked a whole bunch into it, so maybe they are. That's just my first glance. Like, how is it going to be different? So if they are going to pull their music from these sites, then by all means, that's a monopoly. Like, then Tidal is the only option because ain't nobody else going to have no music.
Well, yeah, I think a lawsuit will come in to play there. But so we don't know. Right now,
it was an antitrust issue or something like that?
Yeah, that now it's a wait and see. wait and see what's the difference and why will you be willing. And also, you have the ads thing where they're saying we're not going to have any ads and we're going to give you exclusive content and maybe do a concert or something.
How long are they not going to have ads? It's 2015, bro. Everybody got ads, man.
Well, this is what they're selling to the people
initially.
Sir,
if you look at Facebook, Facebook never had ads. They got ads.
Yeah.
Instagram never had ads. They got ads. Twitter didn't have ads. They got ads. Snapchat ain't got ads right now, but you best believe they about to get some ads. Like, it's coming.
So we're going to have to ask Jay-Z that. Jay-Z, if you want to come on the podcast, we would love to have you sit down and explain, what is the difference between this streaming service. But I'll say this. I commend you for finding that ground and actually planting that seed there. Getting people to talk about investing in themselves, getting people not to just sit on their hands and feet and wait for somebody to give them something. Actually standing up and saying, hey, I'm already listening to music. I make the content. Why shouldn't I have more control over it? So
yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I really commend him and all the other artists that stood up, and said, hey, we're gonna try to take this there. Now it's a David and Goliath fight now,
Yeah.
But in the Bible, David won. So but that's what we have to go to. And you mentioned some penny stocks, man. Let's talk a little bit about penny stocks, because a lot of people are kind of fascinated with penny stocks, and they think it's the cheapest way to get in, and they think, okay, well, I can just do this. But you don't like penny stocks too much, do you?
It's not that I don't like them. One thing with me, and everybody has a different process, to me it was just a lot of work. Like, I mean, of course you got to do due diligence with any investment, but penny stocks was a lot of work. What do
you mean when you say a lot of work?
Like, let's say, so, you see some penny stocks. Oh, this one went up 970% today. Okay, so why did it go up? Okay, so you look at the company, you see it went up, but then the next day it's down 600. Like, it's so volatile, it's crazy. So then you look up this company, Bed Sheets R Us or something like that. Yeah. You look them up and then you go to their website and it says they don't have a domain. Oh my God, what? How are they selling bed sheets with no website? Like, where are they at? Like, it's those kinds of things to me. But I looked up one penny stock. I'm from Tampa, Florida. The company was a pizza shop in Tampa, Florida, and it wasn't even a chain.
It was just one shop.
It was one shop in Tampa, Florida. Like, I feel like in a year's time, maybe not even that long. I feel like Black Market Exchange could go on the stock exchange if we want to on the bulletin board. Like, I feel like anybody can go on there. So it's just the research to find something valid. Now, of course, everybody's hot. And it's not even really penny stocks. Everybody's hot on the marijuana stocks because of all the legalization going on. So that's where people feel the boom is going to be. And they're like, if I get in now, once it's really spread around, these companies are really going to boom.
So, yeah, I know we're going to have to elaborate on that. So, do you think that my initial hesitation on the marijuana companies, not that I was going to invest in them or anything, but my thoughts on that was, if they don't get federal, if it's not federal, then how are they going to succeed? Because
they're all cash.
Yeah, these are
they're subject to robbery and all that stuff. All that kind of stuff because they have to keep cash. They can't do credit cards. They can't do none of that stuff.
None of that. And I'm like, okay, people are thinking about investing in these companies, but I'm like, well, maybe we want to hold off until we get the federal side on board, because you gotta really look at this and that's what you were saying, like with the penny stocks. You gotta research these companies. Like you said, it was just one pizza shop. Yeah. Would it be wise to invest in that, even though it's a penny stock?
I mean, you ain't got to look up General Electric to know it's a good company. Like, it might not go up 100% in a day, but it's gonna be decent. It ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, but Billie Jean's Pizza in Tampa, man, come on, son.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why I just say to people, be careful. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still, and honestly, people have a different definition of penny stocks, to be honest. Honestly,
what do you think the average person's definition of penny stocks are?
I think they think it's that 0.0005 cents, and all of a sudden the stock went up to 0.05 cents. Like, that's what my knowledge, people think of a penny stock.
Okay, but really,
to me, and I've seen in some forums, they consider a penny stock anything under $5.
Yeah.
I consider a penny stock anything under $5. So I don't want to say I don't invest, because there are stocks that might be $2 and I'll get a whole bunch of shares and it goes up to $2.25. I might make a quick $50 and just get out.
Yeah.
That I'm fine with that. And if I do that a couple times, that's 50, 50, 50. I'm cool with that. I'm not trying to get that super crazy payday that may never happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can do a little bit of technical analysis and be like, I can get at least a dime out of here, so let me get 10 of them and I'm good.
So let me do a little.
I mean, Sprint is $4.80 right now. Like, it's a penny stock by definition, but it's Sprint. Like, you can at least get some kind of leeway with it. At least it'll get you to look at it because you heard of it.
Yeah, because. Hey, look up Six Flags. Look at.
They were talking about that.
Look at what their stock is. So let's give you an example of a situation, right? Six Flags. I think it was 2008, 2009 when they suffered a really bad financial crisis, and they were almost delisted.
Yeah, it's under SIX on the New York Stock Exchange.
And what is it trading at?
It is currently at.
Give us a minute.
Everywhere you at is stocks, man.
Yeah.
It's at $48.26.
$48.26. Yeah. Right.
That's about the price of admission, right? What's the admission? Like $30?
Yeah, no, like $50.
Yeah.
Sometimes
my little one ain't that old yet. We ain't got that bill just yet.
You gotta come with me and my family. We want all y'all to come, man. She free, but y'all gotta pay. They do a thing where
we can't get on this because it's
over. We'll switch out, man. They do a thing where you can get in. Everybody get in for the kids price, but I'm pretty sure I think it's like $49-$50 to get in there, right? But I think 2008. 2009, Six Flags was almost delisted, right? So now it's trading at 48. So that's a great example of watching a stock, right? Because it went down to penny stock status, right? And investing in it at that point and saying, okay, Six Flags is Six Flags. I know it's going to bounce back. So let me give you my personal opinion on what I thought about that. So when I saw it almost on the verge of I'm like, yo, this is about to get delisted. It's so low, I'm like, okay, but Six Flags isn't going anywhere right now. They're suffering. What they suffered from was our economic tragedy, right? We went through one of the greatest recessions of all time, right? Yeah. So if you're saying, can we go to Six Flags or do we got to pay our mortgage? That affects, right? So let's go back in time for a minute to like 2008. Right, when the recession hit, right? Gas was what? What was gas like? Almost $5 in certain places.
Something crazy.
Do you remember what gas?
How much was down there in Florida?
It's $5. The most I paid at that time, close to $5.
$5, right? $5, right? So
$4.50, $4.70.
$4.70. Yeah, it was like $4.50 in Texas.
That's a lot to be in Texas.
Yeah. I remember going up there like, ooh,
in
$4.
DC, I don't think I've ever seen higher than like $3.90.
I don't think we ever hit $5 though.
$3.90. It was like
close.
It was like I
didn't have to drive that much though up there. DC's real compact, so
so
I didn't have much movement. A tank would last me a little longer than it would down here.
Yeah, but take for instance, so let's say the average tank of gas was $3.90 at that point, right? That starts a trend, and that starts a trend in a downward turn, right? Because before that, everybody, these institutionalized investing, you know what? Okay, maybe I need to explain institutionalized investing, right? Before I get too deep into that. So institutionalized investing, really quick, is like what your company is investing in, right? Not just individual investing, but what the actual institutions are investing in, because they're not just taking your money that you give them, they're investing that money as well, right?
Kind of like your 401k.
Yeah, so they're investing that money, so right. So at that time, mortgage-backed securities, it was all the rage, right? Because you got a steady return. Because people paid their mortgage. If you pay your mortgage, guess what? You're going to be paying interest on it. Not insurance, my bad. interest on it, right? So they said, okay, these are going to give you a steady return. These securities are backed by these mortgages, right? Mm-hmm. So guess what? Most mortgages are how many years? 30 years. 30 years. So that's a good investment for 30 years. You're gonna see some profits on this for at least 30 years, right? Yeah. So here comes the tipping point. Gas is going up like $3.90, right? So guess what? Guess who comes in? Those predatory lenders and saying, hey man, everybody can get a house, man. Everybody can get a house. Even if you can't afford a house. Oh, you only make $40,000? Get a $300,000 house. We'll give you an arm. An adjustable rate mortgage.
I know folks that got that arm in, not where it's at, bro.
Yes, dude. They're gonna take an arm and a leg if you get that arm. They were like, oh, your credit's bad. Oh, okay, fine. We still give you a house. Oh, you don't got 20% down. Oh, don't worry about it. We still give you a house. Come on, man. Come on. So they had all these people get into these homes, right? All these people who get into these homes that they can't afford, right? Even people who are on arms who can't afford it, they're at the, and I thank God. I thank God because I went through the recession, man. And, I was able to sustain with his help. But it was hard, man. And with two incomes, it was still hard. When you're paying, $150, almost $150. If you had a truck, you was paying $150 of gas a week.
I was mad when I was dropping 80 to 90 in there not too long ago.
You was definitely dropping. If you had a truck, Suburban, Range Rover, whatever you had that was taking, if you had a Mercedes, stuff that was taking premium, people was like, nah, I'm just gonna put the regular in this time. I can't do it. You spending close to $100.
You just get to the corner.
Just get to the corner, man. So you were spending that money. So here comes the tipping point. You got all these people in these houses, right? And you got people who didn't put 20% down. Let's start with that, right? People who didn't put anything down. They were doing 100% financing, 100% financing, right?
Sound like a VA loan or something. You ain't got to put no money down.
You got to put no money down. No, it's not even. I remember when we were blessed to buy our home, they said you could roll in your closing costs. I was like, nah, I think I better write y'all a check. I'm trying to pay this thing off, you know? But at that point, you have people who are in these homes, right? And they didn't put anything down. They even rolled in their closing costs. And guess what happens? All the stuff that I just said, and the bottom falls out. So the people who, let's start off with the people who did 100% down. A lot of those people didn't have any equity in their home. Mm-hmm. So if they wanted to sell it, they got this $300,000 home that's worth like $210 now. So you paying a $300,000 mortgage and it's on an arm. And you're like, yo, my house isn't even worth that. It's not even appraising anymore. Because you know why your house is not appraising like that anymore? Because the neighborhood that you built your home in, it was a booming neighborhood. But the developer, he ran out of money because the recession hit. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I can't finish this neighborhood. He just up and left. And he was like, so you sitting there with a house out in the middle of nowhere. They had a lot of those in Atlanta. I think you can even look that up, like unfinished subdivisions, Atlanta. Google that, and you'll see these subdivisions from the recession, the Great Recession, that were unfinished. It's like two houses out in the middle of nowhere, and nobody wants to buy those houses. You lose equity in them, right? Yeah. So you're like, wow, man, I just lost equity in my house. Now I'm paying $150 a week in gas. And now my arm has just adjusted, because that's what it does. It adjusts. I don't have enough money to pay for the house at this point. I don't have enough money to pay for the house. So guess what? The house goes into foreclosure. Another house goes into foreclosure. Another house goes into foreclosure. And then your house... You sitting there, you got 4 foreclosures around you. Your house just, guess what? It lost equity, right? So it's a vicious cycle. So the reason why I went through that was to get you to where when we were talking about the penny stocks and Six Flags, right? So this recession is going on, right? People aren't going out to eat. Darden Group, the Olive Garden, and Red Lobster, I think they're just now recovering from that.
Yeah.
You know, people were saying, "I'm not going to go out to eat. I gotta buy gas to get to work. I can't go out to eat."
You second guess your actions.
Yeah, you second guess your actions. Everything was suffering. So you have entertainment complexes and entertainment companies like Six Flags who suffer too. They suffer too. They're like, attendance is way down. You know, who can justify when you're about to lose your home and you're surrounded, even if you were good, right? And you see people's houses getting foreclosed on left and right. You're gonna think twice. You're gonna be like, yeah, we can hold up off Six Flags for a minute to make sure we have enough stockpile just in case something happened. Layoffs were rampant because, you know, the recession affected everything. And at that point, people were not going to Six Flags. And at that point, Six Flags was actually almost about to be delisted, right?
And delisted just simply means, you know, it's going to be taken off the formal exchange. So your formal exchange is going to be, you know, a New York Stock Exchange or a NASDAQ. So when it's delisted, it'll go to penny stock status, where it's going to be on an over-the-counter bulletin board, pink sheet, something
pink
like
sheets
that.
like that.
So,
yeah,
because that's kind of basically what happened with Radio Shack recently.
Yeah,
like, it was delisted.
Yeah, so when they got to that point, almost, but not, it wasn't delisted. So when I looked at that, I said, you know what, this is because of the recession, and I say, I could see myself still investing in Six Flags because after this recession is over, these parks aren't going anywhere. They're not going to close all these parks down. You know, these parks are going to still be here. Once we get out of the recession, people are going to start spending again.
And you know, there was actually an article on CNN Money today about the way that gas has actually been coming down recently. Yeah, and I've been talking about gas since BMEX started. Like, I've always been talking about OPEC. And gas is low. Yeah, people are going to start spending. Well, it turns out that people haven't really started spending a whole lot just yet, but they said that the average household is going to save $750.
$750.
That's $750 extra because gas is low.
Yeah.
And so what they were saying was that from an investor standpoint now, that $750, people are going to buy an extra drink at Buffalo Wild Wings. Yeah. Or they're going to go to Six Flags. Like, that's what they're saying.
Places like that.
Do. And so that's what you were saying with the recession. When things start to pick back up, people feel like, oh, I got a little bit of extra money now. I can do these things. Yeah. It can recover.
Yeah, it can recover. So, like, when you go to the gas station now and you pay $30 and you can fill up, you know, because I have a small truck, but it fills up with like $30. You know, that's it. Even if it's 50, that's half of 100, like what it was when gas was skyrocketing. Yeah. So now you have more money to invest. But let me tie up the loose ends on the penny stocks. The reason why I brought up Six Flags and almost being delisted, right? So the smart investor says Six Flags is low right now. It's at a penny stock status, right? I can invest in that, right? And I can make this a long-term investment because I know once the consumer starts spending again, guess what? They're going to go back to Six Flags, right? And Six Flags has a high profit margin. You know why? Because you pay almost $50 to get in there, right? You pay another $15 for parking. When you get in there, Mom, Dad, you know what? I'm thirsty because it's hot. And Six Flags says, well, you can buy this drink for $6, or you can buy this.
That's a steal.
Yeah. Or you can buy. Now it's a small one for $6. Or you can buy this souvenir cup for $14.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That you
With
get,
the refill.
Yeah, that you can fill up all day. Guess which one you're gonna go for? You're gonna go for the souvenir every time.
And they don't even. Let's say you got 3 kids. You don't just get the one and tell them to share. Yeah. You get each of them one.
You get each of them one, and you say y'all good for the rest of the day. Even if the parents don't get one, they get some for the kids, and they say, well, I'll drink out of those, right? The food and everything, the profit margin is so high for what they do and how they do it. The smart investor says, I can invest in this penny stock, i.e. Six Flags, because I know once we get out the recession, they're going to bounce back. You have a pretty good idea that they're going to bounce back. And what Eric was saying, he was saying a lot of the times, we look at penny stocks, but we don't do the due diligence, right?
Yeah, to know what it is.
To know what it is. We just say, oh, it's trading at 0.0005, or I can get in this and buy a lot. But like he said, it's Billie Jean's Pizza in Tampa, Florida, and it's one of them. What are the benefits of investing into that one pizza shop that may go out of business? It's not franchising. It's not doing anything. Some of those penny stocks don't even have valid or viable web addresses. When you look at it like that, you're like, yo, I need to stay away from that.
And that's what's happening with some of these a lot of these energy companies, like oil refineries and stuff. A lot of them have become penny stocks because they're not, the size of Exxon and Chevron or BP, your Phillips 66. They're not these big corporations. There's these smaller ones. And, their prices are under $2. Maybe they dropped into $10 now. So it's like, can they make it?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, can they make it?
Because at the end of the day, gas is going to go back up.
It's going to go back up.
It's just wind.
Believe me.
So you got to view it from that scenario. And when gas goes up, these stocks are going to get back in business. Yeah. But you just gotta find which ones. Cause I saw one. I think it was like Quicksilver. It was KWK was a ticker symbol, and that joint dropped all the way to like 17 cents, and now it ain't nothing. Like it's done. It's done. It's off. But you got a couple other ones that are that are
kind of holding on.
They still holding on. So it's like, are they gonna make it through?
Yeah. And when you're investing in those kind of stocks, you gotta really do your homework. You gotta do your due diligence and find out. Are these stocks, is it even viable for me to invest this short, this not short, but I guess this small amount of money in a short term? I guess what I was trying to say. Or because we don't even know if they'll survive, we don't know. But when I was talking about Six Flags, I'm like, you can kind of foresee that, okay, although Six Flags, the stock price is low, they're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to, you mean to tell me they're going to close all these parks? I just look at it like that, But with a smaller oil company, you say, oh, they might not make it,
Yeah.
So you really have to, and when you're looking at penny stocks, you really have to do your due diligence, do your homework, make sure that it's worth it, and make sure, just like anything under $5, if you're going to say, well, I'm going to do 10, penny stocks, you're going to be like, here, okay, what could I get for the same price? And maybe I can just get one share, of a company that I know is going to do, because essentially it's the same thing,
Yeah, and that's why I always, when people always ask me about pricing of a stock, and I was like this at one point where I was like, Google was $1,000. I'm not about to go buy Google,
yeah,
but it's just
like that.
If Google makes a 5% move, you're gonna get a decent gain. So I'm not saying go buy a super expensive stock. It's just look at it from a number standpoint. If you buy a penny stock, if you see the price is so small, you might feel, oh, I can afford it. But let's say you bought 10,000 shares and it cost you $10, and the stock increased by 100%. Well, you only made $10. You didn't really make nothing. And really, you lost that in commission. Yeah. So you really lost money. Yeah. So you got to see it from a number. You still got to spend a couple $100 if you want to make some money off of it. I think that people get lost in that. Oh, I can buy 1 million shares, but how much did you pay for it?
And how much did you really make? Because a lot of people have they're like, well, Warren Buffett did it, but Warren Buffett, he did his due diligence, like we were saying.
Yeah.
He picked strategic. It was a strategy. It was an algorithm that it just wasn't. Oh, I can buy 1 million shares, or I can buy 10,000 shares of this. I got 10,000 shares of this. No. It was a plan in place. I don't know his exact plan, but I guarantee you that he researched these companies. He knew where they were going. He had a forecast in his mind where they would be at a certain point. You have to have that when dealing with penny stocks. You have to have that when dealing with any stock.
Because, like you said, he did his research. Like people always mention about. You can't have emotions tied with investing. Yeah. And emotions means not like, oh, you like this company so you invest in it. Like, I don't want to say like as an emotion, but emotions like, oh, I'm just going to hang on. It's going to pull out. It's going to pull out.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be like, this is what my limit is. If you want to set I'm willing to risk a 30% loss before I pull out, then that's what you need to do for every single investment that you have. That's just, you need to set some kind of guidelines for yourself to follow. That way you have the same, you're minimizing loss, maximizing gains, and you sticking to the script.
Because if you don't, just like you said, if you don't have a threshold, then your emotions do become tied to something. I'm just gonna hold it out. But you say, if I lose 30%, I'm out of here. I'm out of here no matter what. And then you have to leave that emotion right where it's at, because the stock may shoot up as soon as you get out. It happens like that sometimes. And you're like, man, I should have stayed in. And now you know what you're doing. The next investment, you're going to be investing with emotions. So you just have to say, oh, I missed that one because it just fell below my threshold. You just got to make the
gains be more than the losses. That's it. Because you're going to have lumps. Like, that's just part of the game.
That's part of the game, man. It's a part of life. Life is not one thing. Life is ups, downs, highs, lows. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's hard, sometimes you benefit, sometimes you don't.
Even God gonna put you through some tribulations. Like, that's the whole point, because you're not gonna appreciate the good times if you have the bad times. Like, that just comes with the territory.
It comes with the territory. People like, oh, I'm good. Everything's supposed to be fine and dandy. Now I got God on my side, but life still happens. So, and just with investing, life is going to happen. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. Sometimes you're going to make money. Sometimes you're going to lose money. It's always a risk with investing. But here at Black Market Exchange, we want to minimize that risk by education. We want to educate you guys and give you guys the best opportunity to make the best investment that you possibly can.
And I think you've mentioned the term hedge earlier, like Warren Buffett. Hedging is basically just kind of covering yourself. So let's say you do want to take a risky investment, on a penny stock or any stock for that matter. Technology I always say that technology is more riskier than some other companies, because they fluctuate.
Yeah, they fluctuate all the time.
If Jay-Z is back in Twitter, Twitter's gonna go up. If Jay-Z says I'm getting off Twitter, it might go down. If Jay-Z is a sponsor for Bank of America ain't really changing, because people want a good rate. It don't matter who is the sponsor.
You can have Jay-Z do all your commercials. If you come in and Wells Fargo can give you a better rate, you're gonna be like,
you gonna go there. You don't care who you
gotta go. If like Chase can give you a better deal, you're gonna be like, I like Jay-Z, but I'll just listen to his music. I'm going over here with Chase.
So what you can do is you can try to hedge it to where, okay, if I'm gonna take this risky bet on this kind of somewhat unstable $5, $10 stock, maybe I'll get a couple shares of this $50 stock that has a nice dividend to offset that. Because if I lose some money, I know I got this dividend coming in to kind of recoup some of that loss.
I can recoup from the dividend, Not that they are tied in together, but you're saying, okay, what I lose on this stock, I can recoup from the dividend.
Yeah. And I don't want to get in detail with options, but some people use options as like a hedge. Yeah. Especially if the market's going down, you get option put, you're going to be good, but you're going to still hold on to what you had, because it's still going to be sound, and it's just temporary.
And that's the same thing with mutual funds. We're giving you a lot of guys examples right now. So if the stock market is tanking, that's why a mutual fund is comprised of a lot of investment vehicles, because if the stock market is tanking, it's got some bonds in there, it's got maybe some options, maybe some things to offset the money that they lose in either entity that's losing money at that time. So you have to just look at it like that. And on that note, I think we done for today. We good, E?
Yeah, man, we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. We hope you had a great time here at Brent Money and Life. This is episode 6. Definitely check out our website, as we say, www.thebmex.com. Also check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Y'all know the links. Y'all know all that information. Check us out on YouTube and SoundCloud. Subscribe to YouTube. Follow us on SoundCloud.
Subscribe.
Follow us on all media. Stay in the know. Stay in the know.
Comment. Ask questions. You can even ask questions in the comments. Ask questions in the comments. We'll get back to you.
See, I don't think people realize we ain't robots, man.
Yeah.
We gonna respond.
Yeah.
If you ask people that follow us and look at our stuff, we respond.
Yeah, we respond. I'm talking about he'll send me a question and I'll try to have him that question within a couple of minutes, and he'll get a question and he'll try to get the answer out as quickly as possible within a couple of minutes. So,
because you got to understand, the stock market got set hours. Tomorrow's Good Friday. The market's closed.
Market's closed.
But education don't stop.
It don't stop. It don't stop.
You still got to learn.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, take tomorrow Good Friday to get some good education in while the market's closed.
Thank you. That's it right there. And because we don't offer financial advice, man. We give you examples of things and trends that we see in the market. But our goal here at Black Market Exchange is to educate, just to get you in on the know. If Jay-Z didn't know that there was a company out there that he could invest in to do streaming, we would have no Tidal.
Mm-hmm.
If Warren Buffett didn't do his due diligence and was also knowledgeable on the stocks that he invested in, would he be Warren Buffett today? No, it started each scenario that I just mentioned started with education, man. So on that note, we're gonna say peace out, and remember to subscribe on YouTube, check us out on SoundCloud, check us out on all forms of social media, IG, and live life, love God. Peace. That's it, man. I'll slice it up, man. It's gonna come down to the wire.
Good dialogue, man.